Hey, it's Snarly. What a chaotic past couple of weeks. Movistar Riders staging another upset, Heroic getting eliminated from groups, and Evil Geniuses actually taking a series? Crazy, I know. Let's get you up to speed on what's been happening the past couple of weeks. Before we begin, what is EPL? EPL is an abbreviation for ESL, a CSGO tournament organizer, Pro League, a month-long tournament where 32 teams battled it out to try to be the best. What we're looking at in particular here is Season 18 of ESL Pro League. About 1 to 2 times a year, this tournament is held and invites a handful of notable teams and names, such as partner teams, previous playoffs attendees, and teams that make it through the online brackets for their respective region and have them go through a series of best-of-3 matchups until one team comes out supreme. Last time an EPL tournament was held, FaZe Clan took the trophy and subsequently claimed their Intel Grand Slam prize pool of $1 million. This is also marked as the worst day in history for anyone awesome. The Intel Grand Slam is achieved after a team manages to win 4 of 10 Intel-sponsored tournaments before another team finishes their run. This can include tournaments such as Katowice, Cologne, EPL, or other miscellaneous IEM events such as Dallas and Sydney.
And $1 million bonus!
Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Group A. Group A consists of Vitality, who have just won a major in Gamers 8 $1 million prize pool tournament, Orcs, a random team that made it through the online qualifiers, Astralis, previous rulers of the CSGO professional era, now reduced to some young and up-and-comers, being carried by Device and BlameF, who I'll go into more on detail later, Ninjas in Pajamas, also rulers of their own era who are a mirror of their past selves, Furia, Brazil's strongest team currently, Movistar Riders, a mixed bag of mostly Spanish players, Greyhound, an Australian team, and finally Gamer Legion, the grand finalists of the Paris Major. Let's break down each team. Starting off with Vitality, their roster consists of Zaiwu, a young French laser cannon with the most impressive performances seen since Simple in 2021, Sphinx, an Israeli player with very strong skills, Magisk, a 4-times major winner from Denmark and an amazing lurker, Apex, a former entry fragger and 2-times major winner from France, and Flamesy, the newest addition to the roster replacing Dupree a couple months back and has shown great skill on the server. I would go into more details about Orcs, but unfortunately they got kind of crushed at their run at EPL, so there's not really a need. Heading out to the Danish organization of Astralis, this team had the best lineup in CSGO's history that oversaw the lifting of 4 major trophies and an Intel Grand Slam win. Their fiery opera still remains with the lineup, Device, but the lineup has changed a lot, now consisting of BlameF, a strong fracking IGL with 3 top 20 showings in HLTV's rankings, Stare, Buzz, and Borup. Moving on to Ninjas in Pajamas, or NIP for short, this roster currently consists of Headtrick, Rez, Config, Brolin, and Hampus. Not much notable to say about this roster, but they did manage to steal a quick fall final spot from Vitality in the fall groups for Blast. Next up we have Furia, a Brazilian powerhouse consisting of Fallen, a 2-times major winner with excellent opping and IGLing skills, Cacerado, currently Brazil's best rifler and player, accompanied by Art, Yuri, and Cello. This roster hasn't seen much success, but they have been known to make deep runs in Tier 1 tournaments. Next is Movistar Riders. This team has been known to kick some ass in Pro League in the past, and after some roster shakeups, they're back again. This roster consists of Alex, Just, Mopaz, Adam S, and Martinez. Skipping over Greyhound real quick, sorry Australia. The last of the notable teams is Gamer Legion, a team known to make upsets in the past, such as eliminating G2 from the Rio Major RMRs and eliminating Heroic from the Paris Major semifinals. This roster currently consists of Kios, Volt, Neelan, Acor, and Isaac. All of these players are considerably good in their own right. Alright, now that we got that whole explanation out of the way, let's get into the fun. Day 1 opened with Vitality dominating Orcs 16-7 and 16-6, NIP tearing through Astralis 16-10 and 16-11, Movistar Riders starting with a quick upset to beat Furia 16-8 and 16-13, and finally Gamer Legion taking care of Greyhound 16-9 and 16-13. Day 2 saw Vitality taking on NIP in the upper bracket, and after NIP's domination of Vitality in fall groups, surely they would make quick work of them here as well, right? Well, with the swift 16-3 and 16-9 for Vitality, they didn't want it to be that way. Movistar Riders also took on Gamer Legion in the upper bracket, and despite it being close on both maps, Movistar Riders managed to close out both 16-12 and 19-16 in overtime. In the lower bracket, Astralis smashed Orcs 16-5 and 16-6, while Furia did the same to Greyhound going 16-6 and 16-8. Day 3 opened with an elimination match in the last chance bracket between Greyhound and Orcs, which Greyhound pulled through on, losing Mirage 12-16, but took Nuke 16-10 and Ancient 19-15 in overtime. Meanwhile, in the lower bracket, Game Legion was swept by Astralis 16-12 and 16-8, and NIP, despite putting up a good fight against Furia, lost on Mirage and Nuke 16-12. Day 4 saw the elimination of NIP to Gamer Legion, with NIP taking the first map 6-16, but failing to take over Pats at 16-14 and then crumbling on Inferno 16-10. Meanwhile, Astralis qualified for playoffs after beating Furia 16-7 and 16-13, knocking the Brazilians down to the last chance bracket. Day 5 kicked off with Furia bouncing back and defeating Greyhound one last time, struggling a little on Inferno but managing to pull through and get in 1917, then crushing the Australians on Vertigo 16-8. Remember Vitality and Movistar? They got a little extended break since they were both technically qualified, but now it was time for them to decide who would go where. Vitality made quick work of Movistar, going 16-10 and 16-7 and securing quarterfinals, while Movistar had to settle for playoffs round 2. Finally, from Group A, Furia and Gamer Legion would face off for either qualification or elimination. Gamer Legion put up a good fight but lost in overtime on Mirage 1915, then collapsed on Overpass, losing 16-4 and giving way for Furia to make it to playoffs round 1. That may have been a little hectic for you to follow along with, but the gist of what you need to know is 1. Vitality qualified for quarterfinals, 2. Movistar Riders qualified for playoffs round 2, 3. Astralis and Furia qualified for playoffs round 1, 4. Orcs, Greyhound, NIP, and Gamer Legion were eliminated from EPL. And with that, Group A is concluded. Now, let's move on to Group B. Group B consists of the following teams: Heroic, Rooster, Big, Monty, Mouse, MIBR, Evil Geniuses, or EG for short, and ENS. But the teams you really need to focus on are everyone besides Rooster. Sorry again, Aussie CS.
What, fried rice and chicken?
Yeah.
Day 1 opened with Heroic vs Rooster, which was a sweep, 16-2 and 16-4. Big and Monty faced off, and despite a close fight on Vertigo and Noobs, the series closed out with Big taking it 2-1. Mouse and MIBR also had a 2-1 series, with MIBR coming out on top via narrowly winning out Mirage 16-14. To close out the day 1 was EG vs ENS, and despite EG's efforts on Nuke, ENS closed out the series 16-9 and 16-14. Day 2 featured Heroic vs Big, MIBR vs ENS, Rooster vs Monty, and Mouse vs EG. Heroic vs Big seemed like it would be an easy 2-0 for Heroic, however Big managed to win Ancient 25-23 in 3 times overtime and close out the series on Inferno 16-13, the first major upset of Group B. MIBR put in a good fight against ENS, but after 2 overtimes on Vertigo, 1 overtime on Anubis, and a close fight on Ancient, ENS managed to take the series. Rooster did manage to take a map off Monty in their series, but Monty shut them out on Anubis and Mirage. Finally, after 2 very close maps, Mouse beat out AG 1915 and 16-13. Day 3 opened with Rooster finally being eliminated by EG, of all teams. Then a close series between MIBR and Monty resulted in the Brazilians advancing and sending Monty down to the last chance bracket. In Heroic vs Mouse, let's just say it wasn't pretty for Heroic, getting swept 16-8, 16-10. Heroic, the second best team in the world at the time of the tournament, was now in the last chance bracket of groups. Day 4 saw MIBR and Mouse taking on each other to see who would qualify to playoffs, with Mouse coming out on top 16-14 on Vertigo and dominating MIBR in Inferno 16-5. The final match of the day was Monty vs Heroic, and keep in mind, every time that Heroic and Monty had faced off against each other, Heroic came out on top in dominant fashion. However, this was not the case in EPL. Monty stole Mirage from under Heroic's nose with a 7-8 half, and Heroic only taking 2 maps in the second half. Overpass was close, very close, going into 2 times overtime. Heroic managed to close it out 22-20. Ancient was the decider, but Heroic couldn't pull through and was defeated 16-10. Heroic, who had also won EPL just 2 years ago, was eliminated from the group stages of ESL Pro League Season 18.
Hey, Dinko, fuck you, man!
Day 5 began with MIBR and EG facing off to see who would advance to the last chance grand finals. EG got absolutely demolished on Ancient, only managing to take 1 single round. They put up a much more impressive performance on Mirage, despite going into 2 times overtime. The series concluded on Nuke, and MIBR pulled through in 3 times overtime 25-22. EG was eliminated from EPL. Big and ENS fought to decide who will take the quarterfinal spot, and ENS came out on top 2-1, nearly closing it out on 2-0 on Anubis, but Big managed to take the map. Big still takes the spot in playoffs round 2, same as Movistar Riders. The final day of Group B concluded with MIBR and Monty facing off against each other. The winner advances to playoff round 1 and loser gets eliminated. Spoiler, it wasn't even fucking close. Monty tore MIBR apart 16-6 and 16-3 and took their spot in playoffs. So here's the conclusion of Group B. 1. ENS takes a spot in quarterfinals. 2. Big goes to playoff round 2. 3. Mouse and Monty take their place in playoffs round 1. And 4. Heroic, MIBR, Rooster, and EG are eliminated from EPL Season 18. So anyway, that concludes Group A and B of ESL Pro League Season 18. If there's anything you don't understand or need more clarification on, I do not give a fuck and never speak to me again. Have a nice day and see you in the future.